The small alien outpost on the edge of the Valari system was quiet. Their planet had no armies, no ships, no defenses. It was a peaceful farming world, far from any galactic conflict. But one day everything changed. The sky turned, dark as a massive warfleet appeared. Dozens of ships from a hostile empire began bombing the surface without warning. Villages burned. Families ran for shelter, but there was nowhere to hide. The alien people had no way to fight back. The attackers came for resources, and they didn't care who lived or died. In panic. The elders of the planet sent out a wide range distress call across the stars. A simple message repeated again and again. Please help us. We are under attack. Anyone, please. For hours, nothing came. Not even the Galactic Council answered. It seemed no one cared. The people lost hope. But far across the galaxy, the signal was heard by Earth. Humanity had not been part of the Council for long. Many species still called them young and too aggressive. Others feared them, calling Earth a death world, and its people dangerous. Humans didn't care about their opinions. When Earth's defense fleet received the distress signal, there was no debate. Commanders gave the order, move out. Help them, now. Captain Dale, a seasoned human officer, stood aboard the battleship Nova Storm. He watched as dozens of warships powered up and prepared for jump. A single message was sent back to the planet under attack. Hold on. Help is coming. The humans didn't wait for politics. They didn't wait for permission. They just acted. And as the human fleet vanished into jump space, one thing was clear: the heavens were about to burn. Asterisk arrival of the storm, the alien planet. Once green and peaceful was now a smoking ruin. The invaders roamed freely, destroying homes and capturing the weak. Fire spread across fields. Ash fell like snow. The sky, once blue, was choked with black smoke. In a small shelter beneath the ground, a group of survivors huddled in silence. An elder whispered, "No one is coming." No one heard us. The children cried softly. The injured moaned. They were waiting to die. Then the air changed. High above the planet. Space shimmered and tore open from the rift in the void. Earth's warships arrived. First came Nova Storm, its black hull reflecting firelight from below. Then others followed: Iron, Shield, Hunter's Cry, Falcon Wing, and more. They didn't come quietly. Each ship roared into real space like a beast set loose. The human fleet wasted no time. Fighters launched. Cannons powered up. The enemy ships, caught off guard, scrambled into defensive positions. But it was too late. The humans attacked with precision and fury. Their railguns struck first silent, invisible death. One enemy cruiser exploded into a bright ball of light. Another lost its engines and drifted, helpless. From the surface, the survivors looked up. Where there had been darkness and smoke. There was now fire, but it was not from the enemy this time. The sky blazed with blue energy blasts, streaking like lightning through the heavens. Enemy ships burned in orbit. A child pointed at the light and whispered, "They came." The elder looked up, tears falling from his tired eyes. "Humans," he said. The stories were true. Below the clouds, escape pods fell from the broken enemy ships, crashing into the forests. Human drop pods followed them, filled with soldiers in black armor or Deathworlders. These were not just soldiers. They were hunters trained on the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. They were here to end the invasion. The enemy had brought war to a peaceful world. Humanity had brought judgment. Asterisk Deathworlders on the ground. The enemy soldiers gathered near the forest edges, barking orders. In their own harsh tongue, they had lost ships in orbit, but they still held numbers on the ground. They expected the humans to land slowly, to talk, to negotiate. They were wrong. The first drop pods from Earth hit the surface like falling meteors steel, capsules that slammed into the dirt with violent force. The aliens stared in shock as the pods opened and black-armored figures emerged. The Deathworlders moved without hesitation. No shouting. No warnings. The lead human raised his arm, and his squad vanished into the trees like shadows. Within seconds, the screams began sharp, Brief cries from enemy scouts who thought the humans would fight like everyone else. They didn't. Earth's soldiers used everything terrain. Silence. Speed. They were trained to survive against beasts that could crush stone and breathe poison. These alien raiders with their glowing armor and loud weapons were nothing compared to that. One enemy commander watched as his patrol vanished into the woods. He turned to run and a human soldier dropped down from a tree, landing silently behind him before the alien could scream. It was over. The survivors in the shelters heard something new, the sound of battle changing direction. Explosions echoed. Farther away now. Human aircraft roared across the sky, chasing down retreating invaders. One young alien boy peeked out of a broken window. He saw two humans moving through the street, carefully checking buildings. One of them looked up and noticed him. For a moment, the boy froze. The human raised a hand, slowly, not a weapon, just a hand. A wave. The boy's mother gasped. "They're not like the stories," she whispered. And she was right. These weren't monsters. These were protectors, deadly. Yes, but their fury was aimed only at those who harmed the innocent Dot as the sun began to rise. Fires still burned across the hills. Smoke covered the mountains. But in the sky, Earth's ships held their position, like sentinels. The heavens had caught fire, but now hope burned with it. Asterisk the turning tide by midday. The once invincible enemy forces were breaking apart. Their commanders tried to regroup, tried to send calls for reinforcements, but the humans had jammed their signals. Even their strongest positions were falling one by one. The humans didn't just fight, they hunted. Every squad moved like a single. Mind, silent and swift, drones hovered above, marking targets. Snipers took out enemy officers with precision. If the aliens managed to dig in, orbital strikes answered their resistance with overwhelming force. One alien war leader covered in. Polished armor and scars stood on the hillside watching the smoke rise from his broken camps. He couldn't believe it. His fleet had crushed dozens of worlds before. His men had never known fear, until now. Now they whispered the same word. Humans. They saw them not as warriors, but as predators, creatures from a world so dangerous that even their plants were deadly. The invaders had laughed at Earth before. No one was laughing now. Meanwhile, the survivors on the planet began to leave their hiding places. They walked carefully, unsure, until they saw the banners of Earth flying from captured outposts. Human medics treated the wounded without question. Engineers began rebuilding damaged comms towers. An old alien farmer approached the group of humans carrying food crates. His voice trembled. Why did you come?" A tall human turned to him. His armor was scratched, his face tired. He replied simply, "Because you asked. No politics, no reward. Just action." Back in orbit, the human command ship Nova Storm coordinated every move. They had located the last enemy ships hiding behind the moons. The order was given: eliminate all threats. Leave no danger behind. Within the hour, the sky lit up again. From the surface, it looked like stars were falling, but they weren't stars. They were the enemy fleet, burning in pieces as humanity finished what it started. As night fell again over the wounded world. There was silence. Not the silence of death, but of peace. And above it all, Earth's ships stood watch. The ones who had once been feared. Had become the shield for those too weak to fight. Asterisk. The message sent the alien homeworld was quiet for the first time in days. Fires had been put out, families reunited. The wounded were cared for, and the last of the enemy bodies were being collected, most of them barely recognizable after Earth's strikes. Still, the humans didn't leave. They stayed to help rebuild. From the wreckage of the communications tower, Earth engineers restored the planet's signal hub. It had once been used to send out the desperate cry for help. Now, it would be used for something far greater. Inside the newly repaired control center, a human officer sat beside the alien governor. The room was dim, quiet, filled with the soft machines rebooting. Outside the windows, children played in the mud. no longer hiding in fear. The governor looked to the officer and asked, "Will they come again?" The human answered without hesitation, "If they do, we'll be waiting." Then, the human typed a short message and transmitted it across the stars. It went far beyond the borders of this planet, a signal sent to the entire galaxy, gotta read. To any who bring war to the weak, know this. If you hear a cry for help and choose silence, humanity will not. And if we must rise, the sky itself will burn. The signal reached many systems. Some ignored it, but others trembled. On distant worlds, military leaders replayed the footage. They saw enemy ships falling like meteors. They saw human troops walking calmly through fire. And they saw something worse, how Earth had no interest in conquest, only injustice. But their justice came with fire. Back on the planet, the people began rebuilding. Human supply ships arrived, bringing tools and food. The soldiers started packing up, their mission complete. Yet the alien children gathered around the Earth warriors, asking questions, offering gifts, simple drawings, food, or small carved stones. One girl offered a flower. Its petals wilted but still beautiful. A human soldier took it gently and smiled. No words were spoken. They didn't need the galaxy had learned something new. Humanity didn't always come with weapons. But when they did, they came for a reason. And that reason was never ignored. Fire echoes through the stars across the galaxy. The story spread at first and moved in whispers, then in headlines. Then in council reports stamped with red warning symbols. Systems that once mocked Earth now spoke of it in quiet, cautious tones. Armies watched their borders. Pirate fleets suddenly changed routes. Even powerful empires started reviewing their invasion. Plans carefully avoiding any world that carried Earth's insignia, because they had seen the footage. They had watched the enemy fleet burn in the skies above that little farming planet. They had watched Earth's Deathworlders march through smoke and ash, showing no fear, no mercy. But what unsettled them most was what happened after the fighting. The humans stayed to rebuild. They brought food, water, tools. They offered no demands, no payment, no conditions, thought they just helped. That's what truly terrified the galaxy, a species strong enough to destroy fleets. But kind enough to bring healing after the fire? Some called them hypocrites. Others called them guardians. A few even called them monsters pretending to be saviors. But one fact remained. They answered a cry for help when no one else did. Back on the saved world, the humans began preparing to leave. Their ships were cleaned and restocked. The soldiers were called back to orbit. The alien citizens gathered to watch them go. One young boy ran forward and handed a small cloth to a human officer. It was hand-stitched with the symbol of Earth, surrounded by a circle of stars. The human accepted it with care. He didn't speak, he simply nodded once, then turned and marched up the loading ramp above. The great ships lifted off one by one. Engines glowed blue, dust swirled across the fields, and as the last ship vanished into the clouds, silence fell again. But this time, it wasn't the silence of fear. It was peace. In the coming weeks, other signals for help would be sent out from different corners of the galaxy. And this time, there was hope. Because now they knew if Earth heard the cry, someone would answer. And the heavens would burn again if needed. Humanity's legacy weeks passed. Then months. The planet, once nearly destroyed, began to thrive. Crops returned to the fields. Schools reopened. Families rebuilt their homes with stronger walls and lighter hearts. And everywhere on doors and flags, carved into stone, one new symbol appeared. The Earth's SIGIO. It wasn't a sign of ownership. It was a promise. In distant sectors. Smugglers and warlords who once preyed on defenseless colonies now avoided any system with that mark. The message had been received loud and clear. Touch those under Earth's protection, and fire will fall from the skies. In the Galactic Council chambers, diplomats argued endlessly. Some accused Earth of aggression. Others praised them as the only ones with courage. But deep down, every representative remembered the same thing. the footage of the Nova Storm, rising above the burning clouds, leading Earth's fleet like an avenging god. The image was everywhere now. Children across worlds reenacted it with toy ships. Songs were written, art painted, stories told around campfires and digital tables alike. But to the humans, it was just another mission. On Earth, the soldiers returned to quiet homes and simple meals. Their names were never shouted. Medals were placed in drawers. And still, their communication centers continued listening because they weren't heroes. For glory. They were watchers, listeners, guardians. On the bridge of Nova Storm, now docked at Earth's main orbital station, Captain Dale stared out at the stars. He had received hundreds of thank you messages from across the stars. He read, only a few, but one message remained on his screen, glowing softly. We lived because you came. Thank you. He closed the message and leaned back in his chair. Somewhere out there, someone would need help again, and Earth would answer. Not for power, not for fame, but because they remembered what it felt like to cry out and hear nothing. They would never let that silence fall on others. Not again. And when that call came, when the signal reached them once more, humanity would rise, and the heavens would blaze anew. Asterisk.